and welcome to Culture here on I-24 News. I'm Oded Grober with a whole new edition just for you. Today on our program, we'll talk about the Israeli art movement, New Horizons. We'll see how pop star Viktoria Modesta turned her prosthesis into a fashion accessory. And we'll check out some new music releases, including Slater Kinney's first album in a decade. In 1980, Professor Gila Balas published her seminal book, New Horizons, The Birth of Abstraction in Israeli Art. Recently, a revised bilingual edition of the book was published with new materials and more reproductions of artwork. Very happy to have Professor Balas in the studio to talk about this artistic movement and the book. Thank you for coming in, Professor Balas.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit, introduce this group New Horizons to us.
This group was born in 1948.
With the establishment of Israel.
Exactly.
Lovely.
Yes. There was a little history behind, but I don't think it's very important now.
Okay.
But in April, I think.
Who makes up the group? Who are the main people, main artists who are active?
Some of them you see here on the photo. This and well, we have to explain first. At that time, in April, I think, there was the inauguration of the general exhibition of the Corporation of Artists, Israeli artists.
Right.
It was a very important event, and many important people came to the vernissage, and not many of them realized that some of the most important artists in Israel were absent from this exhibition.
Right.
Next morning, in the Haaretz
newspaper, daily newspaper,
there was a publication of 15 artists who declared that they didn't want to participate in this exhibition because of the policy of the Artists Corporation.
And this is the group that
this
later...
is the group that later became known as the New Horizons group.
I see. So they had a political agenda as well, not just...
artistic political agenda.
Okay.
Yes, of course, they were against the policy of the Artist Corporation.
Establishment. In what way?
In a way that they thought that the general exhibitions, the annual general exhibitions of the corporation were not in a satisfactory artistic level.
I see.
They were against mediocrity because the policy of the corporation was that every member of
any
artist belonging to the corporation could show at least one work.
I see. So humility was not one of their strong suits.
No, it's not because of humility, because they thought it was a way of expressing the democratic spirit of the corporation.
Right. Now,
and
stylistic, they were working abstractly.
Well,
that was their style.
not at all at the
Okay.
time. Not at all at the time, because they were considered modern. You see, and modern at the time was considered on the example of the French painting of the time. The French painting was the source of information to all the Israeli artists even before the state. But these artists especially were interested in the modern expression in French art.
And the artistic establishment in Israel was willing to accept them? Was willing?
Yes. On the contrary, they were very well considered by the establishment.
It's just that they didn't think highly of the establishment.
Exactly. This is the.
Now you said the Israeli artists. Now most of them obviously were not born in Israel. Most of them moved to Israel from various countries.
Yeah.
Can we consider them Israeli artists? Can we say that it's one of the movements of Israeli art?
Historically looking, yes, because first of all, most of them came very young to the country. Of course, they were not used to the light and to the colors, which were different from the countries they came from, mostly in Eastern Europe.
Right.
But they came very young, and they tried hard to belong.
To become Israeli.
To become Israel.
Right.
At the time, it was not Israel, of course.
Yeah.
But even before, they tried to become Israelis on their way, on their modern way.
Now, the book was first published in 1980, as we said, and at the time, many of them were still alive. At least some of them were still alive. And you interviewed them. You met with them.
Yes, I met them. I spoke with them, and I cited them in the book, of course, which is very important.
Yeah, but I'm curious if nowadays, 35 years later, are they still remembered? Are they still revered?
Of course, yes. Yes, they were, I might say, they were accepted into the consensual consensus of the artistic field in Israel very highly, and they are considered as the founders of Israeli modern art.
And
up to now?
When you look at contemporary art, contemporary Israeli art nowadays, can you still see traces of what they started?
Yes, but not concretely. We don't have to seek it in the way our artists today work. Sometimes there are some reminiscences, but mostly in the way they think about art, the way they
what they allow themselves to do.
Yes, in a way, yes.
Well, Professor Baras, it's very, very interesting, and the artwork is, of course, beautiful. Thank you again for coming in and talking to us about this.
Thank you.
Now, singer and model Viktoria Modesta wears fashionable prosthetics and challenges society's notions of handicapped people. Her recently released music video titled Prototype presents a new vision of a pop star. Sandy Fortis takes a look.
Young British Latvian Viktoria Modesta wanted to turn disability into a strength. In the video for her song Prototype, the model and singer, who has always refused to consider herself disabled, turned Modesta into a celebrity and a phenomenon overnight. Her leg was amputated when she was 20, but Viktoria Modesta never gave up on her dream of turning her disability into an asset by using her prosthesis as a fashion accessory. Shiny steel, illuminated bionic leg, and one with stones and diamonds. Pin-up models and teenagers may end up fantasizing about a prosthesis. The suggestive poses, extravagant outfits, and spectacular choreography aim to make people rethink and reshape the beauty standards of our society, which are often full of prejudice towards people with disabilities. And Modesta is not alone. Just like her, there are other women who are not settling for less. The most well-known among them is Amy Mullins, an actress, model, and Paralympic champion. The young woman had both legs amputated at the age of 1, but she never allowed this to prevent her from reaching her athletic dreams. A Paralympic champion in 1996, she also modeled for Alexander McQueen in 1998 and in 2012 joined the list of L'Oreal models.
And I'm worth it.
Heather Mills, former wife of musician Paul McCartney, also experienced similar challenges. She had a leg amputated after an accident, but the young model decided to continue business as usual. In 2010, she even participated in the American TV show Dancing with the Stars and also Dancing on Ice. 45-year-old Heather Mills also achieved very good results in Paralympic skiing. These three women are three public figures, and they are changing society's perception, proving that disability is not an unsurpassable obstacle.
In a moment, we'll hear about some new albums, but first, here's our cultural recommendation for the day.
In 1965, hundreds of people marched from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, fighting for civil rights for African Americans. 50 years later, a photo exhibition pays homage to these events that made history. Thanks to the work of 50 photographers who documented that day, among them Stephen Sommerstein, who was then 24 years old, the New York public can now rediscover the historical events of March the 25th of 1965. The exhibition traces the path taken by Martin Luther King, author James Baldwin, singer Joan Baez, along with thousands of demonstrators. A historic walk that will lead 4 months later to the signing of the Voting Rights Act by then President Lyndon Johnson.
And now Shai Ringel is joining me here in the studio to talk about music.
Hi.
Hey Shai, good to have you.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Some really nice new releases.
Yeah, let's talk about the releases from Belle and Sebastian. They released a new album yesterday.
I love Belle and Sebastian.
It's called Girls in Peacetime Want to Dance.
Girls in Peacetime Want to Dance.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, the album itself is very different from everything they did up until now. It's their first album in 5 years. Stuart Murdoch, the lead singer, did a lot of stuff in those 5 years, including directing his first movie.
Mm-hmm. So, you know what, let's take a moment, listen to something from this album and come back and hear some more.
Okay.
From this hiding place, life was way too much. It was loud and rough round the edges. So I faced the wall when an old man called out of dreams that I would die there. But a sight unseen, you were pulling strings. You had a different idea. I was like a child, I was lost.
I'd say better musician than director.
Yeah, he's a better musician. This song specifically is about Glasgow, the city he grew up in, and it's kind of a throwback, but the album itself is kind of dancey, and there are a lot of catchy pop songs on it, so it's very groovy and very different from
not so melancholic and
which Belle and Sebastian are very famous.
Yeah, they are famous for that, but it still has their sound.
Yeah.
Let's keep going though. Panda Bear.
Yeah, let's go to Panda Bear.
Everybody loves a Panda Bear.
Yeah, Panda Bear released his album last week. But it's a very good album called Panda Bear Meets the Grim Reaper. He's always crazy.
Let's hope it's not the last.
Yeah, he's always crazy. He's always kind of funky, but you have to get into it. Lead singer of Animal Collective, if anybody doesn't know. Noah Lennox is the name behind Panda Bear.
All right. It's a gorgeous video as well.
And it's very luscious sound on the album. The album itself is great. There are a couple of songs you could have got rid of, but you can get.
Perfection is boring, so you gotta have something.
Yeah.
Let's have a listen. gorgeous stuff.
Yeah. And let's
Last but
end.
not least,
Slater Kinney, new album, first in 10 years. Everybody thought they're breaking up the last time with their last album, The Woods. But they're back. The three girls from Portland really brought the feminist rock movement to its peak in the mid-90s to mid-2000. Yeah, so they decided...
worth a listen. Sum it up for us, because
It's
we're almost out of
really
time.
good. Yeah.
Very
it's-
worth a listen.
Yeah.
All right, we'll definitely check that out. Thank you, Shai.
Thank you.
That's it from us for today. I hope you enjoyed watching our show. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, so please join us again.